won't fight. I'm Norfolk night. The world is cold. We stand surrounded. We are not alone. Within my reverie, there's holy light. Without a number, we stand and fight.
Welcome to Sunday night on the PPR channel. You are tuned in for Immortal Shadows, and I am your host, the paranormal pastor, Ezekiel Kincaid. So thank you, everybody who is joining us on the PPR channel, the Yo Baby channel, and on Facebook Live. We appreciate you tuning in tonight. So I hope everybody has had a great weekend, and my cat is down here at my feet. Last week, he tried to jump up and walk across the keyboard several times. So Chief might be making a guest appearance here if he so feels like it. But tonight we are continuing our study in the book of Revelation and looking at the mark of the beast, since I didn't get through it all last show when we did Immortal Shadows on the book of Revelation. However, if you missed Thursday night's show, I would highly encourage you to go back and watch it. It's called Cult of the Mother God, and we did a deep dive into the Love Has Won cult, which was led by Amy Carlson, who passed away back in April of 2023. There's a HBO Max documentary as well on it, and it was also the inspiration behind one of my Southern Discomfort stories called Cult of the Mother God. Really, really disturbing and fascinating things that went on with this cult. So if you haven't checked that show out, that was Thursday night. You can find it on the channel, on the PPR channel under the live streams, also on the Yo Baby channel under the live streams, and also on my Facebook page. It is still up there. But that was Thursday. So now we are at Sunday, and we are going to continue looking at the book of Revelation. We're still in chapter 13. And last week we kind of hit on the false prophet. We hit on the image of the beast and the mark of the beast, and we talked about what that meant to the readers in John's day and how they would have understood it. And we also emphasized that the mark is not a literal mark, but it is like everything else in John. It's meant to be taken metaphorically. Like everything else with John and Revelation, it's meant to be taken metaphorically and spiritually. And we looked at how the mark of the beast also contrasted the seal of God on the foreheads of the 144,000. And we looked at, in that context, going from Revelation 13 to the 144,000 in 14, just kind of the parallels of the seal and the mark and how these were spiritual indicators. The people of God are sealed on the forehead, and also the people of the beast were marked on the right hand in the forehead. And we discussed about that mark could be used as a type of slave branding, but more importantly, that particular Greek word has the idea of kind of a stamp, an image that was used in the days of the Roman Empire. We talked about a little bit of the cultic world of the Roman Empire and the emperor worship and the trade guilds again, and how that would have really oppressed economically the Christians of that day, because they weren't allowed to buy or sell without worshiping in the trade guilds. This is Penny. This is our kitten. She wants to be on TV for a little bit on a live stream. Can you say hi, Penny? Can you meow for him? You're just going to lick my finger? Okay. Yes, this is our newest addition. This is Penny Dreadful, and she lives up to that name, don't you? So, all right, let Daddy finish. We'll see how long that lasts. I imagine she'll probably make another leap for it. So that particular mark, again, was a spiritual marker. And so we kind of hit on all of that. What we didn't get to is looking at what John said the mark was, the number 666. And so that is what we are going to break down and get into tonight. Hey, PW. Hey, Jan. Welcome. Glad y'all are in the chat with us. Thank you for joining us. I know Bethany is going to be up here at some point in just a little while to help me along and hang out with me. So we'll be waiting for her presence. Emma was supposed to sing tonight, but she is not feeling well. She has a really bad cold. So hopefully next time when we do Immortal Shadows, that Emma will be able to sing, because I know it's been a hot minute since she has done that. There's Dustin. Hey, Dustin. Good to see you, buddy. Well, not see you, but see you in the chat. Dustin, there was something I was going to tell you, and it slipped my mind. It was pretty funny too. I'm sure it will come back to me at some point later in the show. Probably, if it does, I will mention it. I will, Dustin. I will give Emma y'all's best. So she is actually curled up in bed right now and just watching TV. So we wish her a speedy recovery, because she does have to work tomorrow. Okay, good, Dustin. Awesome. Glad to hear. Well, while we are waiting for Bethany to come up, Dustin, are you planning on going live anytime soon? Just so we can get that out there. Do you got any upcoming plans? Let me put it in the chat and I'll announce it to everybody. The next Southern Discomfort show that we are going to do, I'm working on getting stuff together and talking about the satanic panic of the 70s and 80s. So that is going to be our next topic of discussion on Southern Discomfort. If I have it all together by Thursday, then we will do it Thursday night. If not, we may push it back to Sunday or maybe to the following week. Because as I have told y'all, I don't like doing shows when I feel kind of rushed, or when I feel like I don't have everything down perfectly in the way that I want to present it. So that will be on the horizon. There's some more things I'm trying to get together for it, and trying to pick out the information that I want to present. Also, what I want to just skip over and not mention, because unfortunately, when you do a show like this, you can't touch on every little single thing. So I have to pick out the high points, or some of the things that I find interesting, disturbing, stuff that could cause you to go research some more on your own. Kind of like the same thing we're doing tonight, and what we're doing with the book of Revelation. There's so much more to get into and to talk about each week. But the goal with this is just to kind of present you a few things each week that you may not be used to hearing, because what we have talked about with the book of Revelation, in our American Christianity, there's usually only one view that is pushed and pushed hard commercially. And that is that everything in the book of Revelation is futuristic and it hasn't happened yet. And that's the what's called the dispensational type of theology that presents a rapture, a 7-year tribulation, a literal antichrist, then a literal 1,000-year reign of Christ after that. But I talked on one of the shows before how that is a relatively new view from the late 1800s. The church has one of their big debates always was how to interpret that millennial passage in the book of Revelation. But there was never this idea that there's going to be some secret rapture of the church where God is just going to take the Christians and leave everybody else behind. That is a very late development that was developed by John Darby after he had a head injury when he fell off of his horse. So my goal is to kind of present you some stuff that has been more in line with church history and what the church has always taught and debated about, and also kind of what the modern consensus of scholars is on these subjects. Not that there's not debate, and so when there is what I think debate worth mentioning, I will kind of throw that out there. But this is just to help you learn some new things. So we're not doing a full deep dive into this every single week because it's a lot you can get bogged down and lost in. So let me see where Bethany is, because I had something special planned. Y'all know that I always have something special planned for Bethany when she comes onto the show. It's just, I love her. She's my twin flame, my soulmate, my other half, my better half. And so I always want to make her feel special and welcomed every time she comes up here. So I had something special, and it's not dad jokes. It's not dad jokes this time, Dustin. It's something quite very more romantic. So it should make her feel really, really special. So we will see Zeke make Bethany feel extremely appreciative and appreciated when she comes up here. But I guess until she comes up here, we can go ahead and get underway. Unless before I start, Dustin, is there any announcements that I need to make? Anything upcoming that you want me to throw out there? Before I hop into this. Anything, Dustin? Anything we got coming up? I'll wait for Dustin to answer. But if you are reading along with us tonight, I am in Revelation chapter 13, and we are in the last verse of that chapter, which is verse 18. Okay, nothing coming up, Dustin? Okay, very cool. So let's go ahead and let me pull my notes up here. Make sure I am good to go and ready. All right. Yep. So verse 18 says, "This calls for wisdom. If anyone has insight, let him calculate or let him understand the number of the beast, for it is man's number. His number is 666. This is by far one of the most debated passages in the book of Revelation. when we're talking about huge debated passages, this is hotly debated, and also Revelation 20, the millennium reign of Christ. That is another huge debated one. So this particular one, let me kind of break it down how a lot of people have interpreted the number of the beast. From the time of the Roman Empire all the way until present attempts of calculation, people have used what is called gematria. And gematria is basically taking, so for example, in Hebrew and Greek and other languages, like a letter has a number value. So in Greek, the first letter of the alphabet, which is alpha, it would be a 1. Beta would be a 2. Gamma would be a 3. You have that in Greek and you have that in Hebrew. So each letter of the alphabet is assigned a numerical value. So one view has been to figure out which name adds up to the numerical value of 666. Now, the challenge with that has been, do you add it up in Greek or do you add it up in Hebrew? Which one? Because John does not specify in that. And because he doesn't specify, those who hold to that opinion have had a heck of a time figuring out, should they do it in Hebrew? Should they do it in Greek? And we're gonna look more into that in a minute. The number's also been taken chronologically to talk about the actual reign of the beast or the beastly government to be 666 years. And that's not a very popular view. There's been some throughout church history who have tried that and it has failed. But the other popular view, the third one, is that the number is taken as symbolic for the Antichrist or anti-Christian power, anti-Christian government. So those are the two biggest ones. And that debate back and forth, or the ones that use gematria to add up the numbers, or the ones that say, no, this is the number is representative of something. So let's look, because this is one of not the most popular view among scholars, but one of the most popular views out there, which is to use gematria and to add up the numbers. I have a couple of slides I want to put up here. I'm going to show you some quotes when we get here. And this is the quotes I'm going to pull up are from G.K. Beale and his New International Greek Text Commentary, which is by far one of the greatest commentaries ever written on the book of Revelation, on the Greek text. It can get very technical at times, and it's extremely long. But it is my go-to. It is the one I've read this thing, I think, about 5 times in my lifetime, because Revelation is one of my favorite books to study. And so I have some quotes and some things from him on gematria. But a lot of scholars, one of the most popular names that they have tried to add up to 666 is Nero. And contextually, when we look at the Roman Empire and we look at what we've talked about, right? Nero makes total sense, and so does Domitian. So a lot of people have tried to add up the 666 to get it to equal Nero's name. Now, it can't be calculated in Greek, but the transliteration of Nero's name from Hebrew to Greek, if you were to transliterate the name Kaiser Neron from Hebrew into Greek, it does yield 666. Now, when we look at this. And this is, we're going to get a little technical here. But y'all are smart enough. You can follow this. A lot of people, what they don't know is there is a branch of study when it comes to manuscripts of the Hebrew Old Testament and the Greek New Testament. Is called text criticism. And what they will do is you have all kinds of different types of Greek manuscripts. All right, let's take Revelation, for example. There are different Greek and portions of different Greek manuscripts out there. And the text critic job is to take these manuscripts and study them and try to figure out through dating and the historical setting, language uses, which manuscript is the oldest, which one is the most reliable, because a lot of times scribal errors would get into the text, copying errors would get into the text. And over the years, scholars have had to go back and kind of correct certain translations. It was never anything major. It was just little things here and there. One of the text critics' job in the book of Revelation is to figure out what was the original thing written for 666, because there's one manuscript evidence trail that says the original is 666. Then there are some who try to argue that no, the manuscripts that have 616 are the original. To make a long story short, they have determined, and most scholars agree, that 666 is the original way the passage was written, that it wasn't written 616. Why does this matter? Why is this even important? Because there are some who will try to take titles and names of Nero and a couple of other ones and make it match up to 616, because they're like, oh, well, if we do it this way, it matches 616, and that's got to be it. And then the scholars are like, no, but 616 is not the what was written originally. And basically what they think is that 616 came into play when Latin translations were starting to be done, and they had ended up adding up Nero's name in Latin, and then they're like, oh crap, this doesn't really add up in Greek, so let's kind of go back and change it to 616 to make it add up in Greek. It may sound like I'm contradicting myself, because you may be like, Zeke, didn't you just say that Kaiser Neron added up to 666? Yes, I did. However, you have to have that particular title, Caesar Nero, to add up to 666. The problem with that is the Roman emperors went by a ton of different titles. They didn't just go by Caesar. So it's hard to say, okay, well, you can use Caesar Nero and that adds up to 666. But if you use some of his other titles that were common and just as popular, that doesn't add up to 666. So you have to specifically say it's got to be this and this and this in order for it to add up to 666. Here is a couple of quotes I want to show you. This is what I was talking about. The Greek form of Nero's names transliterated into Hebrew produces 666. And there, G.K. Beale gives us how it adds up, and where it says none and resh and vav with the numbers, like that's all of the transliteration of the particular Hebrew letters. But you see the numbers after those particular letters. So he says that, it does add up. However, like I said, there are certain things that come into play. One of them is this calculation is based off a defective Hebrew spelling of Nero's name. Because remember, what they did is they transliterated. Transliteration is when you take a name in one language and translate it into a name in another language. So those who try to make Nero's name add up, they transliterate from a particular Hebrew phrase for Nero. And the problem is that particular phrase for Nero is defective. And there is huge debate about how that name in Hebrew can be spelled and should be spelled. And there's arguments about certain letters and where they go and how they should go, because there's different ways you can do it. And basically, it's just mass confusion because of the different ways that it can be done. And I'm not going to get into all of the technical aspects about that. Just know that there are some gymnastics that have to be done to reach this idea that Nero's name equals 666. However, there is something quite interesting when we look at gematria, is Nero was called Beast. And the term for beast actually does add up to 666. We're going to get into that a little bit later, but that is also something interesting to throw out there that comes into play with this particular thing. See if I want to throw this quote up there. Now, the other problem you run into with gematria is, and again, this is from G.K. Bill's commentary, is they've added the emperor's names from Julius to Vespasian. They all come to 666 when you use Caesar in front of them. He talks about how that attempt was motivated by the Sibylline oracles, which is another more later Christian writing. And he goes on to say, if you look at that last line there, the problem with this explanation is that it unjustifiably includes Galba while omitting Otho and Vitellius. So this idea of adding up Nero's name coming to 666, the problem with is a lot of other emperors' names add up to 666 as well. And they will try to argue that all the Roman emperors' names add up to 666. And the thing is, they omit certain ones. So this argument is a little bit deceptive, for sure. And Bethany's here. Let's bring her up. Hey, Blondie.
Hey, what'd I miss?
I'm getting into gematria and how people are trying to add up the number 666 to equal Nero and certain other leaders' names, and how it doesn't really work out. That's what I'm talking about, because that is a very popular thing that people like to do. So let me get to a stopping point, and then I have something special for you.
Let's not. Just keep going.
We'll get to a stopping point here in a minute. So
Hi, JJ.
all of this, it's attractive to try to make 666 add up to Nero's name. The problem with identifying the numbers with Nero's name, in addition to what I've already talked about, is the Nero identification assumes a knowledge of the Hebrew language, because remember, we said it's transliterated. Transliterating Nero's name from Hebrew to Greek is the only way it works. It assumes a knowledge of Hebrew in the language and the system of gematria that John's audience, which they were a native Greek audience, although some of the readers could have been Hellenistic Jews. But you're making a stretch here to say that these people were very familiar with Hebrew, with the Hebrew language. And also it's a stretch to say that they were familiar with Hebrew gematria, which more than likely they were not. As I said, too, choosing the name Caesar Nero is too convenient for the Nero view, since there were other possible titles for Nero. And in transliterating a foreign name into Hebrew, like we've been talking about, there's considerable latitude in putting in or leaving out varying vowel letters. I hit on that at the beginning. And when you look at transliteration, especially when you get into the Greek and you get to the letter sigma, which is in Kaiser, makes the S sound. The sigma can have various different numbers that it can stand for. So like I said, there's a lot of gymnastics to be done to make this add up to 666. And if John's audience is Greek, why wouldn't he just use a Greek form? Or if he meant Hebrew, why didn't he just tell them that, like he does elsewhere in the book, where he says the name in Greek means or is, the name in Hebrew means or is, and he doesn't do that here. When we look at the early church, okay, especially the disciples of the apostles, and we look at their writings and their understanding of Revelation, there is absolutely zero mention of 666, meaning Nero. There's no mention of this Nero view, and that's pretty telling, because you think the disciples of the apostles would have some insight like they do on other things that the apostles had taught, but there's no mention of this when they talk about the book of Revelation or the beast or anything. No mention whatsoever. And the other thing too is when we look at this word where it says to calculate the number of the beast, the idea behind this and what John is saying in the Greek, he's not calling for intellectual, mathematical, adding up or that kind of prowess with gematria. What he's exhorting his readers to do is to have a mind to calculate, which it's the idea of moral discernment to avoid evil and avoid being led astray and deceived by the beast. Let me hop in chat here, see if I've missed anything. So we got Kenneth in here. Hey, Kenneth, thank you for coming to hang out with us this evening. Let's see. I do want to mention this in using gematria and the other things. They have tried and used emperor's name from Julius all the way to Vespasian. And when they use Caesar in front of it, like they all add up. I've mentioned that they all add up to 666. Other names that have been tried to identify was Titus and Latinos, which was one of the Latin views of that. Basically, also when you add up Hitler's name in gematria and you transliterate, it comes out to 666, and so do a bunch of other world leaders as well. So the thing here, all of the attempts to identify 666 with literal calculation of some individual's name, they all encounter difficulty because of the metaphorical language in which numbers are used in the apocalypse, and also because it is so broad. You could make anybody fit that description if you do enough gymnastics. You can make any name you want almost fit. And we've looked at that. I've given examples of that. So it proves too much that it doesn't prove anything. So there has to be another way, and there has to be another meaning in which John was getting at. So none of these solutions, these propositions using gematria, is satisfactory because of those particular reasons that I give, and because so many names, both ancient and modern, can be calculated to come out to 666. So it's easy to turn a name into a number, but it is extremely difficult when you have all of these names that can calculate to 666 to deduce the right name from that number. So that particular interpretation fails because of all of the things that I had just presented. Let's take a little intellectual break since I've thrown a lot at you before we get into what I think is the right way to interpret 666. And since we have my beautiful Bethany up here with us. You there, Bethany?
Yes.
Okay. So what people might not know about us, Bethany, is that, and I was telling them earlier that I have something very sweet planned for you, is that I am incredibly romantic at times, would you not say?
Yes, but
what?
yes, you can be incredibly romantic. What is this? Like, is this?
So,
Oh, Lord.
what I am going to do now, everybody out there, those of you in chat, you need to get a pen and a paper. One of the ways I wooed Bethany with my romance was through some of my great pickup lines. And so I have for you from Zeke's relationship with advice that has worked on Bethany. I have some pickup lines that I'm going to give you, and you write these down and you can use them. These are ones that work on Bethany. So they may work on somebody else. Are you ready for these, Bethany?
I really have a feeling these are not any ones that would really resonate anything more than a probably seeing the back of my head as I walk away response.
Now,
But go ahead.
I did promise them that there were no dad jokes tonight. I had this instead.
I kind of wonder if the dad jokes wouldn't be better.
Well, you complained about them so much.
This is like the RV thing, like.
All right.
Go ahead. See how bad this is.
Pickup line from Zeke's Guide to How I Romance Bethany. Write this one down. Bethany, if you were a vegetable, you would be a cucumber.
Okay, this is like a new layer of hell unlocked. This is exactly what Dustin said in chat, and he was right. These are dad pickup lines.
Bethany.
Oh, God.
On your cuteness, if you were a triangle, you'd be an acute one.
This is something that my grandfather would have said to me when I was 4. And I would have just groaned then, and I am now.
Hey, Bethany.
What? See, even people in chat are just like face palming themselves here.
Are you an orphanage? Because I want to give you kids. Not really, though.
That just already, seriously, that is one of those, if someone said it to me, would be take everything in me not to tell them I have a brick in my purse. Just.
Hey, Bethany.
What?
Would you grab my arm so I can tell my friends I've been touched by an angel?
The only response I would probably say to that is, and if you like, I can make it so that you can see God. I mean.
Now, Bethany, if you were a transformer, you'd be Optimus Prime.
These are worse. This is worse than the dad jokes. I mean, this is just.
Hey, Bethany.
What? Can we just get on with, like, get back to the teachings, please? What?
Are you a banana? Because you are appealing. Bethany, are you sure you're not French? Because Eiffel for you.
Okay, that's kind of cute. Aw.
You liked one.
I did, actually. Okay, that was kind of sweet. I could see that on, like, a little Valentine or something.
Let's see. Oh, here's one. Bethany, do you believe in love at first sight? Or should I walk by again?
That would be something you would say.
Actually, I probably would say that one to you.
You would. Boy, and if I tried to be romantic to you, you would throw it back in my face.
Do you like Star Wars, Bethany? Because Yoda only won for me.
You stole that from, like, a Valentine, like a Star Wars Valentine.
I always wondered if you were an artist because you were so good at drawing me in.
I'm speechless. Okay, are we done? I mean, like, these are just dad jokes, but as a pickup line. I want to meet the people this is worked on, like, seriously.
I don't know. It worked on you.
No. No, that's no.
All right, last one.
Okay.
Bethany, you must be made of cheese because you're looking Gouda tonight.
Has this ever worked on anybody out there? Really?
For you.
No, I didn't know. JJ, I'm so thankful Jay isn't here. Yes, because every guy is going to use these. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. I told you I was here to help. Here to help.
It's as bad as the one Valentine's when you put up a list of different helpful hints to have a romantic Valentine. And one of them was to get her dressed up and get her in the car to tell her you're taking her somewhere really fancy, drive around the block and bring her home and say, well, we're here.
Those were good. I'll have to pull those out one day again. I have to pull those out next Valentine's Day.
You know, it's just so... I can't even say corny. They're just stupid.
Well, you know, we're doing something a little different since you complained about the dad jokes and asked if it could possibly be worse. And as you know, when you ask such questions to me and Dustin, the answer is always yes. It can
Yes,
always
you guys
get
just
worse.
turn them into pickup lines.
Well, maybe, I doubt it, but maybe one day you will learn your lesson and not say, I don't see how this can get any worse.
It did with the RVs. It did with this. Why do you guys keep taking everything and making it worse?
Because you say, you ask the question, can this possibly get worse? Or I don't think this could be any worse. And so Dustin and I take that as a challenge.
Did he help you come up with these?
No, he did not. He didn't even know I was doing this tonight.
But it sounds like something he would say. That's the horrible thing. You guys you're starting to mesh together.
You're right, Dustin. I forgot her intro music.
No, it's not necessary.
Yeah, tonight is all about making you feel special.
No.
The pickup lines and
Oh, not the bloody horns. God. You guys had to pick the nerdiest, geekiest. Couldn't pick anything powerful. Couldn't pick anything cool.
Uh-oh. I'm not seeing it,
Ha
Dust.
ha, you lost it. Moving on.
Oh, I'm playing it now. I'm determined to do it. I think I have to switch things. Now we're on Southern Discomfort.
You're just screwing it all up. Moving on.
No. Aha.
No.
Let's see. Let's try this one.
Bethany. Hello, Bethany. Say hi to viewers. Here you go. Enjoy the show.
Welcome to the show, Bethany.
I hate those horns. Again, 1991 Pentium processor PSA.
That's all for you.
I love the passion pit too. Looks like it came from the most decrepit garbage dump ever.
Mm-hmm.
No, actually, okay, it looks like where I grew up, somebody's abandoned house with that rotted out car that they're saving for some relative that is never coming back.
Yeah. I go ask if I can have it.
You would. I mean, if it's dingy and looks like it's going to rot into the ground, you want it.
Yep, I do. For our life together.
That thing looks like you would just step in it and just like fall through the floorboards.
What's wrong with that?
Yeah, then you can Flintstone everywhere. All right. Did you have anything else to add about your teachings tonight?
Yes, I have to get into what it really means. So, are we
Good
ready?
segue. You've probably lost half the audience. Now everybody's disinterested.
No, I told them we were going to take a little break. I threw a lot at them. So take a little breather. And now we're going to get back to what 666 is and what it means in John's Revelation. I just wanted to make you feel special.
You always make me feel special.
Oh, well, good. I'll have some more stuff next week.
Oh, God. Moving on.
All right. 666. We looked at gematria does not work in trying to calculate. If it did work, it would be a rare exception from the way numbers are used elsewhere in the book of Revelation. There's no evidence of any other number in the book, right? And we're up to, we'll be in chapter 14 next. And we've looked at a lot of numbers in this book, and we have talked about them and their meaning. And there's no evidence that any other number in the book is used that way for gematria. And there's no evidence that the numbers are used literally or literalistically. The numbers with John all have a figurative significance, and they symbolize some sort of spiritual reality. For example, we've looked at the 24 elders. We've looked at the 7 seals. You want to do a seal clap for me, Bethany?
That was a dumb joke then. It's a dumb joke now. And yes, Change, I need a hug.
Oh, they feel so sorry for you because you have to put up with the crap.
And no, don't make this. That was the dumbest joke. That was the joke that sparked it all. Was the 7 seal, not like a real seal. Arf, arf.
Mm-hmm. Anyway,
Moving on.
back to numbers. You have the 7 seals, the 7 trumpets. You've got the 3.5 years. You've got the 2 witnesses. You've got what we've looked at with, Jesus being the lamb with 7 horns. And then you got the dragon, the beast, all of these 10 heads, 7 horns, all of this, every single other number. And then when we go further into the book of Revelation, every number is symbolic. And another thing that supports this number 666 being symbolic is when we get into the next chapter, we have the 144,000 mentioned again in contrast. The 144,000 with the sealed of God, contrasting to those who have the mark of the beast. So everything with John and the numbers are never meant to be taken literally. So it symbolizes a purely spiritual reality. And this is also true with the number of the beast. So let's look at what this number means and why he is using 666. But before I get to that, some will try to argue that, well, John tried to use gematria because he was scared of persecution and didn't want to mention names or anything like that. And that argument fails because John is already in prison on the Isle of Patmos, right? He's not scared of persecution. He's already there. And the whole thing in the book of Revelation is he is encouraging the believers not to be scared of persecution, but to be bold. So John is not going to take a coward's way out, and he's not going to be cryptic to avoid some sort of persecution because he's already suffering for his faith, and he's not trying to protect his readers from persecution, right? The whole thing of the book is telling them, be prepared for persecution. It's going to happen. So that argument fails. So 666, it appears only here. This is the only place in the book of Revelation that 666 is mentioned. The triple sixes are meant to be in contrast with the divine 7s that are all throughout the book. All right, so you got the divine 7s, right? We have the 7 horns of the Lamb. Now there's 7 horns and 7 things on the beast too. We'll talk about that in a minute. That's why I use the adjective, the divine 7s. The horns on the Lamb. You have the 7 seals, the 7 bowls, the 7 trumpets. 7 is symbolic for completion. So the idea of 6 is one of imperfection and incompletion. So this idea of incompletion, it doesn't just come from Revelation. It comes from elsewhere in Scripture, starting all the way back to the Garden of Eden and the 7 days of creation. 6, it wasn't completed. It was incomplete until the 7th day, until God rested. And so that's just one example, starting all the way back from the first book in Scripture. And the 666 is understood as, in the way other church fathers have understood it, is a way of summing up the whole of the apostasy and the wickedness and the persecution that has been summed up in this lifetime. And here comes Penny again. Here we go. I told you she'd be back. All right. You let Daddy finish. Say hello, Penny, then you can go. There's Penny. It's Penny Dreadful. My cat. One of my 3 cats. Okay. So when we look at this idea of 6, when we look at the 6th seal, when we look at the 6th trumpet, and then when we're going to get into the bowl judgments later on in the book of Revelation, when we look at the 6th bowl, the seal, the trumpet, and the bowl, the 6 judgments in each of those all depict the judgment of the beast followers. The 7th in each series, the 7th trumpet, the 7th seal, the 7th bowl, they all depict the coming kingdom of Christ. So each series of seals, the series of trumpets, the series of bowls, they are incomplete without the 7th. Just like the 6 days of creation were incomplete without the 7th. So these 6 in Revelations are incomplete without the 7th. The idea of using a 666. So why did John use 666 if just using 6 would have been suffice? The reason he did this, right, symbolizes the idea of incompleteness. And the triple repetition of 6s is meant to intensify and really draw attention to the implication of incompleteness and failure that is summed up in the beast and in fallen humanity. And the number 3, right? You have 666 3 times. The number 3 also gives this idea of completeness as well, right? You have the Trinity, you have the completeness in the Godhead, and you see this parodied, you see the Trinity mocked in the book of Revelation with the dragon, the beast, and the false prophet. So this 666 representation of the dragon, the beast, and the false prophet. So the repeated 6, it indicates the completeness of sinful incompleteness, to use G.K. Beale's words. The incompleteness of sinful completeness, to put it another way. So the idea here is that, right, the beast has 7 horns, 10 heads, all this stuff. Like, he is the completeness of rebellion against God. He is complete in his rebellion, in his sin. But though he is complete in his rebellion and sin, it is all failure because he is incomplete in and of himself, and he fails, and his persecution will fail, and his kingdom will fail. It is all meant to signify that the dragon, the beast, and the false prophet are all incomplete, and they will all fail. And all of those who fall into their deception and are marked or identified with the beast, with the dragon, with the false prophet, are incomplete as well in their sin. And so this is the idea, right? The beast epitomizes imperfection. God alone is perfect. His kingdom alone is perfect. What Jesus did on the cross alone is enough and perfect for the redemption of humanity. So this is the symbolism behind 666. It is a number of incompleteness to show the full incompleteness and failure of the world system, of the beast, and what he is going to try to accomplish and do. So again, it is symbolic, it is spiritual, it is representative, and it should not be added up and be used in a way to try to calculate some person or ruler or leader's name. So that is the number of the beast and the meaning of it in the book of Revelation, as the majority of scholars understand it. So I hope this was something new and enlightening for you. Just remember, when we interpret Revelation, we have to be consistent in our interpretation. We have to be consistent with how we use numbers and themes and symbolism, and how we interpret them. And it makes no sense to have all of this evidence for numbers being used symbolically in Revelation, then to all of a sudden try to flip the script and interpret it literally. John doesn't use numbers that way throughout his book. So next time, we're going to be in Revelation chapter 14. It's a little bit, it's not too long of a chapter. There's only a couple things we're really going to focus on in this particular chapter. We're going to focus on the three angels that come flying through and start announcing things. That's going to kind of be the majority of our focus in Revelation chapter 14. And then after that, we're going to start getting into the seven bowls. So Dustin, we have to find something extremely annoying to do with bowls so that we can aggravate Bethany. Because we did it with the seals, we did it with the trumpets, so we got to come up with something for the bowls.
I don't think you could with anything with bowls.
She just challenged us, Dustin. You know you just challenged us, Blondie.
Yes, I did. Let's see if you and the creepy clown in chat can do something.
Oh, we will.
I doubt it. It's bowls. What could you two do with bowls?
We can do a lot with bowls.
We'll see.
We will see. All right, Dustin, you hear that? She is challenging us. We will come up with something to make you cringe with the seven bowls. You just wait. We got.
Give me your best shot.
We got a little while, so we have some time to think on this, Dustin. Come up with something. I did mention, Bethany, that we were next thing we're going to do on Southern Discomfort, once I finally get everything ready, is going to be talking about the satanic panic of the 70s and 80s.
How many of you remember that? Because I remember it distinctly.
Mm-hmm.
What I remember about that time were a couple of things. I remember even my mother laughed about the whole, if you play certain songs backwards, you could hear certain satanic messages.
Yeah.
But the one that got me, and a lot of people took it to heart, were the daycares and the accusations with a lot of daycares at the time.
Yeah.
Does anybody remember that? PW remembers, JJ remembers. Yeah. Yeah, it was crazy to me.
Now, I will say, growing up in a extremely conservative church, the satanic panic spread into the 90s. Do you remember that documentary I showed you, and I had you watch some of it with me, the Hell's Bells?
Yes, yes, and
Yeah.
that's what I'm talking about because I was more a product of the 90s, not the 80s. And it went up into the 90s.
Mm-hmm.
And my upbringing was not at all that conservative, but it still reached to a lot of parents at the time.
Yeah. And we're gonna talk about that, like that. The Satanic Panic dug its claws deep into American society.
What is frightening, and especially because I don't want to give too much away, but it was very reminiscent with what we had watched and discussed, very reminiscent almost of the Salem witch trials. I mean, the level that people took this paranoia and misinformation to me was on the same level.
Yeah, and we can talk about and show like it worked its way all the way up into law enforcement.
Yep. That's the scary part to me, is that law enforcement, they had task forces literally dedicated to this. Like I couldn't believe that.
Yeah. So that is what is to come on Southern Discomfort as soon as I'm finishing gathering all of my information and sorting through it and figuring out how I want to present it. Ow, cat. She just crawled up my leg.
Good girl. That's a good girl. Thank you.
No, you wait. You just wait, Blondie.
Oh, good kitty. Yes.
Chief, stop scratching at the door. No.
Go poop in his shoes.
Oh, Chief will throw up in them. You won't poop.
Go ahead, Chief. Throw up. Oh, there's Dustin. Hello. What? 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 What?
Let's see what he's got.
One. Is that supposed to be throw up?
His throw up is cotton candy.
I don't care. It's still throw up. Okay, I can't. I'm not afraid of spiders. That's Vicky. Not a huge. Okay, get the vomity clown off. Come on, just get the vomit. Ugh.
That is one of those pukes at the fair.
Okay, stop.
Cotton candy and chili dogs all day long.
All right, stop. All right, get it off. Come on.
It in the big popcorn bucket.
It's right up there with the turd.
I love how he just left it up there.
Okay.
And gone off.
And that's okay.
And he's eating it back in.
Okay, stop it. I'm gonna throw up on live feet. Get it off.
This is absolutely brilliant, Dustin.
That's disgusting. Just get it off.
I
can't.
It's stuck. It's not working. Whatever shall I do?
Get it off.
It's stuck.
Get it off. All right, I have my hand blocking it.
And he's like, nom, nom, nom.
Okay, stop. Oh, stop.
It's a perpetual supply, and he's never hungry.
Stop. It's disgusting. Okay.
Thank you, Dustin. That was good, brilliant.
You're welcome. Thank you. Yeah, Dustin already ruined a bowl. Thank you so much.
Candy barf.
Come on, I'm gagging here. Like, I feel chunks rising here. It's disgusting.
We will use this as 7 bowls. Can you get 7 of those?
All right. Stop. Come on.
Who's doing that? It's 7 clowns doing that. See if you can do that, Dustin.
My question is, what is it with like horror and gross? Like some of the stuff. I get the thrills and the scares, but does it have to be so gross?
Yeah, sometimes it does. Sometimes it does.
Apparently. On
Well,
that happy note.
we're going to go ahead and call it a night for tonight.
I'm going to go get a peppermint to try to settle my stomach. Get it off! Come on.
I don't know how that happened again. I think there's a glitch.
All right, just try. Stop! Come on, it's gross.
Dustin, I think there's a glitch, Dustin.
Stop! I'm gonna go get a peppermint.
So we will be back. I'm not sure what night. Like I said, if I get everything together, we will be back Thursday night to talk about Satanic Panic. If not, we may wait till the following week. But we will be back. Just know that.
With our walk down memory lane for Satanic Panic.
Yep. So thank you, everybody, for watching with us tonight. For those of you who hung out and chat with us tonight, thank you. Thank you to everybody who watched on Facebook. And again, thank you for my stalkers. And thank you for them watching and giving us views. I always appreciate that. So stick around. We always like to play Dustin's inspirational video that he made for us. And we will see y'all all back here next time.
Is this what giving up feels like? I don't know. Tell me, have I lost my mind? Nowhere to go, so far from home. Is this what giving up feels like? I don't know. Tell me, have I lost my mind? So I